How do you know your purpose? Once in a while, I get an idea that I like to tease out in writing. It might be a question or a reflection on life. And today's idea is about purpose. So, how do you know what your purpose is? And so, I'm sharing my thoughts on purpose and finding your purpose and enjoying your purpose and knowing what that is. So, it's a feeling inside that won't let you go. It's a kind of knowing. That's what purpose is. It's a kind of knowing that your heart, that you're meant to do blank. You're meant to do blank. It's an instinct, an intuition, a knowing that blank is what you're meant to do. So it may not be just one thing. For example, it may not be that you're meant to be a doctor or an actor or a comedian or a salesperson, a merchandiser, an inventor. It could be that sense of knowing that you have certain skills, a certain drive towards something like being an encourager. It could be a quality in your character, that sense of knowing that you're good at something, knowing that you're good at construction or being creative or motivating others, having a great gift of empathizing with people, being very hospitable and knowing just how to do that, how to make people feel comfortable and feel good about themselves. You have to ask yourself the question, what do I naturally gravitate towards? What is it that I like to do? Where do I feel most alive? Where in life have I had the most satisfaction, joy? Where have I felt the most complete? The answer to those questions are clues in your life, a little bit of direction. It's like reading road signs. You know you're getting closer to your destination, and then one day you realize that you're there. You are where you are meant to be, doing what you were designed to do. When I indulge in creative endeavors, I have the greatest level of satisfaction. When I can organize and create a schedule and reach a place of satisfaction in my day, I know I'm exercising some of my God-given skills. When I can indulge in nature in any form, like walking, riding a bike that is, hiking, kayaking, camping, or even just looking at a great picture book full of wonderful gardens, mountains, waterfalls, beaches, I'm stirring up that level of appreciation and satisfaction in my life because it is indulging in my creative and instinctual parts of my nature, of my character. That's kind of funny. When I indulge in nature, I'm feeding into my own nature, who I am. When you are doing what you are meant to do, there's a feeling of exhilaration, a feeling of peace, a sense that you're in the right spot. There is no challenge, no jitters, no feeling that you're trying to be something or squeeze yourself into something that you're not. There's just this great level of peace and satisfaction. It's all the good that you could ever feel about something. Let me tell you about this, sales. I'm good at sales. For some reason, I've always had a knack at being able to talk to people about a product and get them just as enthused about the product as I am at the time. In my life in sales, I was in the C market, ABC. I sold computers and cards and cookies and candles. I sold Coca-Cola that is, a machine that made pop. I sold insurance. Okay, so that broke the C market. I was good at sales, but it was never something that I wanted to do. Sales was always something someone else wanted me to do, like my first husband. He was a great entrepreneur, and he was the one that always directed me into sales. He'd say, "You're good at it." And yes, I was good at it, but I never felt that that's what I wanted to do. What I wanted to do was to be creative, indulge in creative endeavors, make things. That has always been one of my great joys. So you can be good at something, but that does not mean it's what you were meant to do. It doesn't mean that that was your purpose. I had a talent to sell things, a talent for merchandising, but that was not my purpose. So being good at something often means you've developed skill, whether through natural aptitude or practice, but purpose usually carries a deeper layer. It's tied to meaning and fulfillment and a sense that your efforts are aligned with something beyond yourself. So skill is about capability, and purpose can be about calling. So my first marriage was abusive, and it took me a long time to figure that out. The man that I married, well, it got so bad that he was the one that eventually squeezed me out of the marriage. He made a series of choices over his life and mine, and I found myself outside the marriage. I was devastated. But it ended up being one of the best things that could have happened to me. I didn't know that at the time, but in retrospect, you learn that. You're able to see the good. So I'm not going to give you all the details, but through a series of events, I went back to school, applied to university with, what did I have? I had quit after grade 10, and I had 52% at the end of that grade 10 year. It's not something that you would say, hey, look, yeah, let me come into your university. I'm really good at what I do. No, I know the audacity of that move, right? Who does that? But I was determined, a characteristic in my personality that continues to serve me well. So I applied and I was accepted on condition. So long story short, I eventually gained a master's in counseling. That was where I was meant to be. I graduated with honors. My papers were A+. One time I had a paper that was less than NA, and I was really upset. So I was like, why is this? So I had perused through it, and I found, turns out that I had a grammatical error. Yeah, my error caused a mark in my grade. That really bugged me. Anyway, the point was that I was in my niche, my groove, my natural place to be. I was in my purpose, not the studying, but what I was studying towards. I studied concurrently two things, teaching and counseling, psychology. So psychology felt natural to me. I understood it, I felt it, and as a result, I was good at offering counseling to others. People would say, for example, one lady said, I've worked with my co-workers for 5 years and nobody gets me, and 2 sessions in counseling and you've got me, you know me. Yeah, well, I was exercising my skills. I was exercising my purpose. So I retired and I let that purpose go. That did not mean the end of purpose. For me, retirement meant that I could have a lot more time indulging in being creative. So my purpose, yeah, you could say be creative. That's the banner over my life right now. It encapsulates many things, but it always includes my natural skills. To be organized, detail-oriented, a deep thinker, philosophical, caring, motivating, encouraging others, inspiring others. Some of the recipients of my creative endeavors say, Sue, you did it again. You inspired us. Or me. It's rewarding to hear those words. And when you hear things like that, you're on the right track. It's a sign that you're on the right track. You're where you should be. You should listen to those accolades and expand on whatever it is you're doing. Purpose is not always obvious. So many people think that they should just know their purpose, but often it unfolds over time. It's more like a journey of discovery rather than a destination that you reach instantly. Purpose sits at the intersection of meaning and contribution. Think about that. I'll say it again. Purpose, your purpose, sits at the intersection of meaning and contribution. Your purpose is usually found where what matters deeply to you overlaps with what makes a difference in other people's lives. So you can ask, what do I care about so much that I'm willing to put effort into it, even when it's hard? So working on my Bachelor of Arts, 2 social work certificates, my life coach certification, and my master's, they were all hard work, but there was a drive, an energy, a reward that kept feeding back into my life, encouraging me to continue moving forward, especially that energy when I needed it, to just stick with it, endure, be resilient, keep going. So purpose feels life-giving. So when you're working in your purpose, you often feel the energy you expend coming back to you. You feel a sense of fulfillment and alignment. It may not always be easy, but it feels worthwhile. So talents and skills are clues, not definitions. Being good at something can point you in a direction, but as I've shared, it doesn't automatically equal purpose. Skills are tools, and purpose is the why behind using them. Often your life experiences, both struggles and triumphs, point toward your purpose. The lessons you've learned can equip you to help or inspire others. I always feel that nothing is wasted. No experience is wasted. In my first marriage, there was such a big emphasis on sales and business and merchandising skills. Now, I'm the kind of person, I like reading about things. I love learning it. That's one of my natural abilities. It's a place where I get a lot of joy. So, indulging my first husband and getting involved in sales, at the time I read all kinds of books on business and the psychology of sales and merchandising. So one day as a counselor, I had a new client. He was an executive of IBM. After our sessions with his wife, he thanked me for the way that I presented and addressed things. Without telling him, I had used some of my business psychology in our sessions. Counseling that client helped me realize that all the years in sales were not wasted. Everything you experience in life can be used in some manner. Certainly the years in an abusive marriage were also used in a wide forum, not only in counseling and truly understanding my clients and their circumstances, but opportunities to write and speak about how I overcame the damage. So purpose. Purpose can change, as it did for me when I retired. Different seasons of life bring different callings. What was purposeful at 20 shifts when you're 50, 60, 70. That doesn't mean you lost your purpose. It means you're living it in a new way. And that's something I hold on to now. I still have purpose. It's just changed, and I'm living it in a new way. So thanks for listening.